I I believe that the Nick College is very traditional and cultural oriented, as geared more towards the Nick philosophy and the Nick culture and language. I started off as a bachelor's employee for since 25 years ago. It seemed like the more and more I got into the business of retail store operation, it seems like it was more of a self awakening that it's not really part of what I wanted to do. I really liked working with people. It's like opening up a whole new door to where I needed to see things for myself, needed to be finished, I guess, with my education. With the Nick College having to be the educational philosophy of Sa'an Hagay Big Ahjon, it really goes back to Sa'an Hagay Big Ahjon as being the Nick College. Sa'an Hagay Big Ahjon. It means more to just saying Sa'an Hagay Big Ahjon. You're embracing your heritage as a whole, your language as a whole, as being one with what our holy people expect us to know. It also, the Nick College embraces and implements Natahakes, Nahata, Ina, and Sihasen. It's like a fulfillment of your life to understand, to live that corn pollen road and to live that Sa'an Hagay Big Ahjon. The reason why I wanted to go into the health profession was because of I like to work with people, especially with elderly people. With that in mind, I'm really outgoing with people, and the thing was, I was looking around with me being in my 40s, I was looking around and seeing younger kids, younger than, like, they're 20 years younger than I was, and I didn't feel out of place, but I thought to myself, these kids can be my kids. I saw it that way. In a way, it was comforting because of how people talk to each other here. It was like more like family oriented, and Shia, Shada'a, Shatsui, or Shache, or Shimasana, or something like that, the way the Nick College is based on, with traditional and culture.
Let's all give it up for Mr. Garrick over here, who just gave us an awesome video presentation. And big shout out to our marketing team for putting that together. That was pretty cool. I like all of the editing, but awesome experience as well. We have a good amount of students as well that are going to be sharing their experiences over the past semester or two with the college. And so here in just a second, we're going to be hearing from our invocator. He's going to be giving our invocation, Mr. Dr. Avery Denny. You can see him off to the side here. But quick introduction into myself. My name is Xavier Sloman. Tkatna Sani Nishle, Kenya Ani Bashichin, Tweheglini Dashiche, Twerikoje Dashinale. And I'm from here, Saley, Arizona. But I was told that traditionally where you're from is where your grandmother is from. So I guess with that, I'm actually from Sanitate Zahe Rock Point. And so a big welcome to everyone here that is joining us here today at, of course, the 2024 annual meeting. You can see it right there. Today is actually where we're going to be going over and presenting the data analytics and, of course, like I said, the experiences of the Diné College for the 2024-2025 academic year. And so with that, let's just get our invocation on with Dr. Avery Denny. So thank you guys so much.
Good morning. To everybody. Say good morning out of, excuse me for saying that at the Diné College is supposed to be Yat Ben Yat Toduk Ojden Anshla Totsoni, Bashin, Tatnes Zanish Che, Do Sanja Kingo Ishinal. I taught here for over 40 years now. Literally after record 40 years, but record keeping, I'm still at 38, but I was here longer than 40 years. So I think I'm one of the elders here too. And I teach for psychology. Yeah, Patrick. And then I help with the next studies. I teach only one class in that area. So most of my classes are in the BA for psychology. So I'm happy about it. And thanks to the higher supreme beings up there that I'm not going to be on Zoom or Canvas in the springtime. So I'll be face to face all year. So that would be great. Thank you for your leadership. Ms. Provost, thank you very much. That's good. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I'm glad, I'm happy because it's very confusing. It's very, very confusing. Students are confused. So they're just barely getting into it like this. And then I did something too with the students. This one right here, I put it in your packet board of regions. It's good to see all of you too. But I started with my brother, my sister, all the relatives that's here. So this was done. The student made these questions out, and we ran off 100 to go out and interview on campus 100 students to do the survey. So this is what it is, survey, holistic healing. So, and this is a data, this is how it's done, look, in culture, the holistic healing. So it's just to measure what the students want to learn and what they're missing, what they want to learn in this class. And at our Diné College, we are different from other colleges, remember? We are Diné College, we're not NAU, we're not Northern Arizona University, we're not U of A, we're not other colleges. There's something that makes us extraordinary, unique. It's our culture, language studies. Don't just put it over there in the little corner over there. Bring it out and use it because this proves it. So holistic, hands-on. Ceremonies are tangible. You can touch it, you can feel it. It's alive. It's not just in the book. That's how they want to hear it. That's how they want to see it. They want to feel it. They want to touch it. They want to ingest it. They want to drink it like that. So it's healing. That's what we're supposed to be doing. So, and I got this taratin out of the basket to use here. So I'm going to do a song and do a little prayer for all of you. for the institution, for the basket. I'll be doing a Yebiche ceremony down the road, Thanksgiving break. You're all welcome to go over there. I'll have a sign-in sheet over there. Make sure you sign in over there. To truly see if you really believe in our traditional way. You know, the whole Navajo nation is like that. Thank you very much.
Ooh, thank you so much, Dr. Aberjenny, for that awesome invocation and prayer. So, you know, there's a little distinction between invocation and prayer. So prayer is, of course, you're talking to the higher-ups in the spiritual world. But with an invocation, you are actually calling on those beings, those higher deities, to be with you in the present space. And so there's that little bit of distinction that I was just kind of wanting to, I don't know, just kind of let everyone kind of know. But here in just a second, we are going to be hearing from our very own Honorable Chair, Miss Teresa Hatatli. So in just a second, we'll be hearing from her, but I did want to go over, I did want to introduce everyone over there at the big table, all of our Board of Regents members. And so first off, we have to the left of the table, we have our executive assistant to the Board of Regents. We have Miss Michelle Claw over there. She waved her hand. Now, sitting next over, we have our, well, there's a couple titles to this wonderful lady. So first off, President of the Associated Students of Diné College, as well as the Associated Students of Diné College Board of Regents representative, now also the Treasury and Secretary for the Board of Regents, Miss Jalen Small Canyon. A round of applause. Now, you won't see her sitting up there next to Jalen, but she's up here. We have our chair of the Board of Regents, Miss Teresa Hatatli, and big round of applause. Yes. Also, next to the empty seat, we have our vice chair member for the Board of Regents, Mr. Greg Bigman. Big shout out to Mr. Greg over there. And to the last seat over to the right, we have our Board of Regent member, Anderson Hosky. So, wave your hand. Alrighty, so let's just kind of get this show on the road, and we'll be hearing from your Honorable Madam Chair, Teresa Hatatli.
Thank you. I also want to make sure that we have our staff faculty recognized. So Ms. or Regent Tolino, please wave. I think most of you know her. So thank you. Ahia sheya bin betodne nishle eshi e bashichin tbai e dashichedo tedeshkijin e dashinale. Ado takon hasanade ade e yanasha ado shamato shija e Jack do Bessie Hatatli holiego e ya a whole jish aben nichil hodjil neegi it ego ado nantin hot aun das lalto dien de ne e nada istli ako laina khayata ako bilkhije e ahwade e tahoilia ako ahya elto ko e nkhano ya ado e shinai elto khoto sin khane des ado inda e nakhatsotol zin elto. So I want to make sure that that appreciation is expressed. So to all the Board of Regents, and then also to Shiaj, Dr. Russell, East Shi, Shinet, Shiaj, Kuche e ya Sotezembe Nanti Kiss, Ado e ya at egit egot e ya eg at the nido ado nandlneshilto, e de kwabe be e ya na hetene sinsen, Shiaj. Ako yitis kakon de shin e ko anhilna hundlon do lel ako ot au NCKs ado e shik e do shitene Although we have our vice presidents, I just want to say thank you for being here, as well as our provost. Congratulations for being installed recently, so thank you very much. And then also to our faculty and our staff. They do the work to take care of us. They do the work to take care of the grounds. They take care of our home. They take care of our home. That's how I think about Tenet College. So thank you very much. I appreciate you. And then also to the students, most importantly. Students of yesterday, students today, and then students in the future. If it wasn't for our students, we wouldn't be here. So all the time, no matter the time of day or night, we're constantly working. That's the commitment, that's the dedication, that's the sacrifice that we have made. So I want everybody to let you know that that's why we're here, is because of the students. So thank you very much. Then of course we have our online audience. Then da isinol tsaigi alto hia kodo e da isinol tsaado di tsotizendosin be ehuto nida shin e alto anot ashin alto be ngitrayata hot e dole tro dot laigi chiando yaigi dije be e nas nada da doltral ado e nas na hol jistole. So I wanted to do the welcome in that fashion. So every time I come here, I feel a little off speaking English, so I always make sure I speak Navajo. Ado shinaye hatzi alto denek eche ya dalti aji e ya biniye has ado biniye ho a ako sindo tsotizen e iltse e lajin ado e binachin e ya nsahakis nahat a adal. That's what we were taught. And so for me, I appreciate that. The songs and the prayers that were put forth today. So going forward, some of the reports that you'll hear today are an accumulation of major points that we've covered this past year. But all in all, most importantly is this is a combined effort. This is not my work. It's not our work. It belongs to all of us. We all hold a stake in it. So even our leaders, our tribal leaders, our state leaders, and then also our congressional leaders. So that's what I wanted to convey. And yat ben tahakis. Ado just the appreciation all the way around. And then ado nkitahanti liye ilto. Nkitahanti liye najanoko sakantle. You can't tip it this way or that way. So ceremonies and prayers ado la dal dal ne. Ado you make sure you put everything back the way it's supposed to be. And so ba haneki it ego. Ado you greet it. I invite all of you to do that. That's what it's there for. So that's what I wanted to convey also. So a little bit of where I come from for those people who don't know me. I've been on the board for a number of years, and then I come from the Hatathli family. We have a Hatathli building. That's where I come from. Dr. Ned A. Hatathli was my uncle, my dad's oldest brother, and he was born and in Komai Mesa, in the canyon is where he was born. And so many of his relatives, his siblings were born there too. So today we only have 3 of Shepije, Shemayaje, I just wanted to convey that. And then my husband is back home. My children are grown. They're going to school. They're working. But Adoshada ne'lto holo. Ako edebe edeo de singlison. So welcome. There's food. Please take some food, eat some food. Don't be shy, you're at home. So after this meeting's over, I saw a lot of cones. So pick some piñons too. Give me a handful. Thank you so much, and looking forward to a wonderful, beautiful meeting. Thank you.
Nice and lively. All righty. So we just heard from, of course, our awesome Madam Chair, Miss Teresa Hatatli, and she gave an awesome welcome address. And so we are going to keep things moving. Now, before we do that, I also did want to recognize that we are live streaming on Facebook. Hello, everybody watching at home or wherever you are. Also, we're broadcasting live on Warrior Radio, KXWR. Like I said, if you are a regular listener, I know we have a few, that you'll be recognizing my voice. I'm usually on there every now and again. But if we could have our next presenter, well, I just wanted to also introduce our next presenter, Dr. Charles Monty Russell, the president of the college here. And so he'll be giving us the state of the college address. And so there he is right there on Zoom land. So let's give him a big shout out, a big round of applause. And thank you for joining us, Dr. Russell.
Are we ready to go? All right. First of all, thank you. Thank you to everybody who helps put this on. I think Chair Totley said it perfectly. This is a group effort. Everything that we've accomplished, everything that we will accomplish has been done because of everybody. And I mean that, every single person. This morning, IT came to my house to make sure in case this computer failed, I had another computer as a backup. And I appreciate that. You know, those are the kinds of things, those little details sometimes we forget. I don't think it's going to fail or anything, but I think just the idea of it. So I'm Monty Russell. I'm the president of the college. Kia Nishle, Monteith Clan of Scotland, Bushishchin, Ajay Shache, Otto German Shandella, and Senekana Dennis Shaw. I first want to say thank you to Dr. Avery Denny, and I love saying that, Dr. Avery Denny. For his beautiful prayer and his powerful words. You know, that is the foundation of who we are as a college. It's been that way since 1968. It will be that way till infinity, whatever that looks like. And so I want to start, you know, my focus in this is to kind of highlight some things, but I also think that it's really important. An annual meeting, an annual report is about looking what we've accomplished, but it's really about our next steps. You know, when my son's a carpenter, and he sent me some pictures of a staircase he built in this home down in Phoenix, and it's a $30,000 staircase. Now we could build a home for the amount of that staircase, but what really, as I'm listening and we're talking and I'm thinking about things, is that each step we build on it. We go forward. That's what this is about. So we talk about what we have to build a foundation, just like you don't start at the top step in building stairs. You start with the foundation and then you add a step and add a step and add a step. That's where we are. That's what this meeting's about. It's about looking forward, not backwards. And so as we, you know, talk about some of those, it's like, what's next? What's going to come after this? So let me start off by saying real direct and succinct. The state of Dannett College is strong. Why do I say that? Okay. I think one of the things that I look at, it's kind of like what was brought up earlier. Over the course of the next hour or so, we're going to hear from different committees, from the vice presidents, and they're just telling us what we accomplished. As Chair Totley mentioned, this is no means saying this is what I did in academics. This is what I did in finance. This is what I did in student affairs. Or for myself, this is what I did with the college. Not even close. This is what you did. This is what you did for the students, and the students responded. So if we look at that, look at a couple things that I think are really important as we kind of lay this foundation for the future. First of all, our finances, one of the things my dad, who was the first president of this college, taught me in terms of running an organization. The first thing you have to have is strong finances. You have to ensure that people trust what is being said, what is being reported. Because if you do not have trust there, they're going to always be chipping away at the integrity of the institution. We are strong in that. Our Vice President for Finance and Administration, Bo Lewis, has, and I don't want to steal her thunder, but she's going to talk about how strong we are. But if you look at the annual report, if you look at the numbers, there are some things that really stand out, because sometimes there's just a bunch of numbers that are being thrown at you. But if you look at those numbers, you think, okay, look at our enrollment, which brings in revenue. And last year we had 100% tuition grants. This year 50. And we just barely dipped within our students. So that means our revenue generation is strong there. If you look at what we're doing because of that enrollment, we get more money from the BIE because it's done by a formula. So we're strong there. When you look at what we get from Department of Ed, it's done by a formula. So more students equals more money, right? And then you think, okay, that's all we care about. No, because when we can do that, we then can build new programs. We then can build new services to meet those students' needs. What are some of those? We have a big emphasis on veterans. What are some of those? We had a grant this year about parents that were going to school. All these things add up. New ideas, new programs. How do we address these students' needs? All of them come. If we were worried about money, that's all we would worry about. We couldn't focus on the needs of the students, the needs of the community, the needs of the Navajo Nation. But that's not where we are. We are strong in our finances. When we look at the numbers, this annual report, it's always hard to figure out how to get it. Look at these numbers. And what I think is really important and that I wanted to share are some things that are below those numbers. So we've gone on the assumption for years since I've been here that a majority of our students are married or parents. That's not the case. It used to be. It was about 46, 47%, somewhere in that range. It's now dropped to around 28%. So that changes who our demographics are and who we are addressing. It used to be most of our students were not employed. Now a majority of our students are full-time. Let me say that one more time. They're full-time employees. So then that changes what we need to do as a college. If our students are working from 8 to 5 o'clock every day, then we need to figure out how do we meet them where they are. And that's a really tough question because it goes into what kind of facilities do we need? Do we need more facilities if more students are going online? The great conundrum that we're faced here is our students, when we, survey them, they talk about saying, we want more online. But the sad reality, the success rate of those students online is not where it should be. Is actually pretty below the face-to-face students. So it doesn't mean, okay, let's just shift to face-to-face or let's just shift one way or the other. That's not, we don't live in that world anymore. This is not a black and white world. This is about how do we try to take what's best with face-to-face and incorporate it into our online programs. How do we make our students successful? Now I'm going to come back to what I said earlier, the idea about funding. One of the things you get when you begin to start getting more grants is you get a success record. And we've done that. We've started to get more research. We have more faculty that are writing proposals. We have more faculty that are doing research. But we also have more staff that are doing that in student affairs. The grant I just mentioned a little while ago about parents, that came from student affairs. And their staff are running with it. So when we start, you hear this a lot, success breeds success. Well, it's true. And I think what we're looking at trying to do is that how do we be strategic? We can't do everything, nor should we. But what we can do is be very specific and target. And if you look at these things like I brought up about the numbers, and you look and drill down deep, then you can figure out where are we going to target. We can't do everything, but where are we going to target? How are we going to target? And so that's the conversation we're having. So when I talk about the success, when you look at the annual report and you see the grants and you see the programs and you see the people going to different places and students going to different places, that's what I'm talking about, is being able to say, now we're having a different conversation. We've mentioned it in a big picture. We've talked about saying, okay, we need to figure out what we're going to be in the future. Well, when you don't have data, it's just like wishful thinking. Well, like asking a kid, what do you want for Christmas? Reality does not set in. But now that we're getting the data, now that we're asking the questions, now we can start seeing how this will play out in the future. And that's exciting. So when I say the college is strong, these are some of the reasons. A good example of that we focus on, and it's in the annual report, is the Navajo law class or degree, right? Now, that's a wonderful program for the obvious reasons that the Navajo Nation is a legal desert. And this meets a need that will help our people. This meets a need that'll help our nation. This meets a need that'll help our families. That's wonderful. And that's why we justify it. But what I look at when I see the creation of this program is we were able to create a program in a matter of months. In a matter of months to meet a need in the Navajo Nation. Through the leadership of the board, asking tough questions, having us come back, but having that dialogue back and forth. Not proposing something in January and then June we get around to it and then maybe October something else happens. No. Here's our deadline. We want students this fall and working backwards. One of the things you think about if you look at businesses and you look at what happens with everything that happens in our society and economy, one of the words that comes up again and again is being agile, an agile institution, that you're not stuck in your old ways, but you're able to take and adapt and move forward and meet those needs, but be true to your mission. That's what's amazing about this Bachelor's of Law degree of Navajo Law, is that it remains true to our mission of who we are, the reasons we started this college as a nation. But it also allows us an opportunity to meet a current need. So we learned a lot. So those are the things that we look at. It may be just the program, but I look at it differently. We were able to move a huge bureaucracy quickly because there was a need. Now, sometimes you need longer times. I get that. But I think one of the things is being able to say, okay, how do we not cut corners, but how do we cut the fat? How do we get rid of all these extra steps? There was a time for those extra steps. They came primarily in the 60s and 70s and 80s, and they primarily were forced upon us by the federal government because they didn't trust us. Well, we trust ourselves. We know what we're doing, and we have the proof of 55 years of operation. And so, there's a lot more to be said, and everything that I've been saying is not even on any of the notes that I wrote, because once I get going, I start just going off on my tangent. But please take the time to look at this. There's some amazing students that we have, and we keep getting new ones. One of the things on this page 5, it talks about by the numbers, our enrollment, the top 5 feeder schools. Right? So when I think about what it is about the college that's so exhilarating, is the idea to say our potential is great. There's a quote that I love by Pogo, and that is, we are faced with an insurmountable opportunity. And that's what we are. And why do I say that? Look at those schools: Many Farms, Chin Lee, Pinyon, Winter Rock, Tuba City. And look at those numbers. But where's Rough Rock, Rock Point, Kirtland, Central, Red Mesa? Look at all, Wingate, Crown Point. Look at all the schools that aren't there. That's potential. And I'll be asking our team to come up with a plan to say, how do we meet these other schools? How do we raise them? If this number of students coming out of high school think this is a good place to be, then why is that any different for Crown Point? Even though there's NT right in their backyard. But we need to look at things differently. That's what I mean by potential. We have that opportunity going forward. And within, and I'm really excited because now that we have a permanent provost. I was an acting person for a while. It's hard to get a lot of the big things done. We don't have that excuse now. There are things that we have that we kind of put on the side, but we're going to start up on them again. We're looking at really focusing on, and I think Dr. Denny brought this up about, our language, our culture, our ceremonies, okay? Everything that we know, everything that we've done has brought us to the point we're at. What we need to do as Dannett College, as the nation's college, is to think about what haven't we done that we can do now to change that trajectory that's going down and slowly even it out, slowly until it turns. We have that knowledge now. It's really about, do we have the commitment to make those tough changes? Technology is going to have to be an answer. How do we use it? Well, we can control that. So when I look at the state of the Dannett College right now, I think about the potential. And I want to say thank you to the Board of Regents. I am not there. I don't want to talk, this isn't about me. But I appreciate everything you have done for me. I appreciate the staff, the work that you do, and I appreciate the students. Because as Chair Toffley said, without them, we're in an empty room talking to ourselves. So with that, I'll stop and just say thank you. I love you all, and let's have a great rest of the meeting. Thank you.
There we go. Okay, it's usually pretty hard to follow up Dr. Russell, but I really always love watching whenever he has something to say. It's always very insightful, very intuitive, also very I'm losing my words. If you listen to the radio, you'll always hear me kind of ramble. As Dr. Russell says, once I get going, I kind of have to, try to stop myself at a certain point. So that's the reason why I'm kind of just doing my best to keep this going. So with that, we're going to be getting into our next speaker, but I'm not going to waste no time on that. So again, one big thank you to our president of Diné College, Dr. Charles Russell. So pivoting to our next speaker, we have our very own Vice President, Chair of the Board of Regents, Mr. Oh my gosh. Sorry, we have our very own Vice Chair of the Board of Regents, Mr. Greg Bigman, here on to the side you may see, and he'll be coming up giving his speech, his presentation. So a big round of applause.
Okay. All right, thank you. She Greg Bigman and she but ani nishlento torchini bashichin lizaslana dasha che do tapa hanach educationalities nas pase nasha. It's a blessing to be here, and it's a blessing to provide service and help Diné College and sit here as a fiduciary for the college and for the people. One of the things that when I came on board here, I believed in what this institution stood for. And today I'm very proud to help be a part of that process. And Diné College is, we're rooted in language and culture. And that means a lot to me as I get older. And what I also believe in is our youth, the students that are here. Because when you look at what makes an institution great or what makes a nation great, it's people. Bottom line. And to push money into an institution that's not going to give you any benefit for 10 years, that shows you where your priority's at. It's about looking ahead into the future. And the best investment within any organization, any company, any nation out there is its people. And to say that I believe in you to give you a free education. I believe in you to better your life, no matter what issues that you had. What issues are you having? Because that's the true belief in a leader, to say, I care about my people. No matter what walk of life, where you come from, what you have been through, is to truly put that money down on a piece of paper and say, this is what I want for my people. This is what I want for my nation. And the finances show it. When you open up this annual report, what you'll see is growing income. And you see more professors and faculty saying that we have that belief. We saw it during COVID. We came up with programs where students wanted to be out there saying, I want to be in public health to help my people. And so there's a strong testament here that our future of our nation is going to be strong as well with this investment, with this institution. So a few things I want to highlight about this, the Finance Committee, is that one of our prime responsibilities is to ensure that we're doing what we have with the money that we're going to say we're going to do, and there's integrity in the process. And we have a process that we developed, an auditing process. We work with the Navajo Nation auditors. Our VP of Finance will go through and talk about the report, and the report is very good. We also have fundraising activities that we continue to do. And it's out there looking at how we start to build strong relationships with our community to understand what their needs are. But also, finding ways to work with our faculty. And I think one of the biggest blessings was knowing that the struggles that each employee has and how we needed to raise salaries for everybody ahead of everybody else. And I'm very glad to let everybody know, that, $15 an hour is the bare minimum here because we care about our employees, providing good benefits, providing good health care. And the majority of our discussions within the Finance Investment Audit Committee was about employee wellness and how do we get the employees to feel better and also make sure they have a retirement, that when they walk away from this institution, they know that we took care of them because that's our responsibility as leaders. So furthering the mission of the institution is just not ensuring the quality education, but it's ensuring the wellness of the employees, the wellness of the students, and also looking at how things are funded throughout the institution. And it's not just the Board of Regents, it's the Board of Regents in cooperation with the administration. And so I'd like to introduce a few of them that are part of this team. There's myself as the chair, Greg Bigman. There's also vice chair of the finance committee is Regent Hosky. There's also VP Haskey, Regent Tolino, Dr. Russell, VP Lewis, and the controller, Rachel Leonard. So this team really helps to provide the guiding light with what the committee is doing. And part of what the committee structure has, it has several core areas within the institution. We have a finance investment audit committee. We also have a governance committee and student and academic affairs. And this is to ensure that we as fiduciaries are looking at the core responsibilities within the institution to ensure good governance throughout the organization. So our VP here will go through some of the details. So she'll talk about the two aspects of how we integrate in shared governance and also compliance within these committees. So thank you.
Yate. Shea Bo Lewis and Din Shia. I'm the Vice President of Finance and Administration. Not otena atachi in Shantorj in Bashachin, Kia Ane Edashe, Sanjikin Dashanale, Hayolte in Nasha. That's in southwestern part of the reservation, between Tisto and Whitecone. That's where I'm originally from. So welcome everybody, faculty, staff, students, Facebook listeners, radio listeners. Glad to have you here at the annual meeting of Janae College. Some of the fiduciary responsibility of the Finance and Audit Committee is we do a lot of shared governance in the sense that we have to oversee our finances, our audits. We have to ensure that the finances are, the audits, we do that every year, and then also we have to look at the findings, if there's any findings, and then we have to have a correction action plan. And then also we do the budget overview. We monitor the budget, and then we try to make sure that we mitigate risk and make sure there's minimal amount of risk when we're doing our audits. And then also we manage the investments, oversee the investments. We see that on a quarterly basis to see that the positioning is correct or right, and change it if we need to. And then also it's an advisory role too as well. And then for the compliance, we make sure that we develop policies and then financial reporting and disclosures, and then make sure that we do it ethically. And then we make sure that internal controls are in place so that things go right when we're enforcing our policies and procedures. And then we do also some trainings along the way for the board so that they're up to date on anything that needs to happen in any areas. Some of the highlights for this past year that we went over was, of course, we always have to review the financial and the single audit reports. And then we also did the proposed budget for this fiscal year, which just started yesterday. And then we revised the finance policies. And then we also approved the P-card policy too as well. And then we made a request to increase the threshold for the purchasing. And then also we did the employee retention credits to the IRS, which is still something that's going to be coming down the pipe. And then we also have collaborations with the Alliance. It's another entity that we work with on broadband. We work with them too as well, and they give us an update on an annual basis or a quarterly basis. And then we make sure that our investment portfolios, we review that. And then the investment positionings, like I said, we do that on a quarterly basis too. And then we also review and approve the supplemental retirement plan for this year. And that's still forthcoming too as well. And then we also implemented the employee wellness plan too this year. And then we also applied for some rebates for clean energy. We have our solar, which is on the south side of the campus. That's going to go into effect pretty soon, or be implemented pretty soon, but that was one of the rebates that we applied for, and that went through the governance board. And then we also did the Title IX reporting and monitoring too as well. That was for this year. So next year, we're concentrating on still monitoring the annual report and then the budget, and also continue to work with the Alliance, and also keep monitoring the investment portfolio and positioning. And then we're also always striving to make sure that we have no findings in our financial reports. We're also looking to implement the supplemental retirement plans for employees, and we're still doing the policies and reviews and revisions, because always there's times when these policies need to be updated on a regular basis, and we make sure that that's being done. And we're doing like an overhaul over all our budgets to make sure that they're all up to date. And we're also monitoring the employee evaluation, make sure those get done on an annual basis, and keep that timely. And we're also trying to improve our onboarding processes too as well. Okay, so now I'm gonna kind of turn this around and do the financial report for Dene College for this year. And I'll go over the annual audited financial for fiscal year 22-23, and then I'll go over the approved budget for 24-25, and then some highlights for 23-24. And then I'll jump back and forth between those 3 fiscal years, so kind of pay attention, because we're always behind on our audits 1 year. So, like I said, we're always behind 1 year, and the auditors, after we close the books, like this year, we just closed this year's books, and then it takes a year for them to do the audit, and then they come back to us, and that's what I report on each year. And this year, our single audit and our financials were done by KPMG, and they were also approved by the board on the September 16th board meeting. And this year we got a clean audit again, which means that any of the reports were free of misrepresentation, and it was according to the U.S. accepted accounting principles. And then also we had no findings this year as well, which is a major success for the college. I don't think I've ever seen any place that I've worked before have no findings, and here too, I think this is the first time it's ever happened, so we're proud of our accounting team that they had no findings, which also means that we follow process and procedures too as well. When the auditors look at our books, they look at our policies and procedures, and then they say, okay, did you guys follow what you guys say that's in your policy and procedures? And that's why we can say from finance that we need you to do this, this, and this, and you got to follow the process. And this year, we made sure that those processes were followed, and the auditors saw that, and that we had no findings. We had some previous findings last year or the year before, and that was all cleaned up too as well. So that's a really big accomplishment for our finance team and everybody for helping us to make sure that we were in compliance. Thank you. I'll go over pretty quickly on this as far as, this is sort of a synopsis of our financial report for 2022, 23, and then fiscal year 21, 2022. So it's sort of a prior year and last year's financials that I'm going to go over. So under our operating revenue, this 22-23, our operating revenue was $12.2 million. And operating revenue as compared to non-operating revenue, there's a difference. So the operating revenue means that we earned it, like let's say student tuition, dorm fees, and other things like that, like rent that we collect. Those are operating revenues that we got for this year. as opposed to the non-operating revenue, that's for like from grants and appropriations that we get, and that was at 40.41 million. And so our operating expenses was at 42.8 million, which left us at a deficit under the operating at 30.6 million. And then we had the non-operating revenue come in at 41.9 and 1.1 million. And that got us to an increase of at 11.5 million. And then from last year, our when we closed our books, it was at 127 million. And then we add that 11, which brings our net position at the end of last year at 38.5 million. So that's a positive all the way around. Like if the net position was different, it would have been a decrease in net position. But this year, it's a positive increase. And so this is another way of saying this is that our net asset is increased by 138.5 million. So we're in a very good position, like Dr. Russell said, financially. And that's very good too as well for the school. As for our budget this year, our fiscal year, which started yesterday, that was approved by the board on last month on the 16th. And the general fund was approved for 25.2 million, which was less, $263,000 less than last year's budget. And that was due to us decreasing or taking out 4.7 of some monies that we get from the Navajo Nation, and we put that in towards a restricted account. So, how we're going to make that up is to use some of our investment and also to offset some salaries with grant funds so that, it offsets. So hopefully that kind of positioning will get us into the next year. And we're expecting a little bit more from that 4.7. Hopefully that'll be increased to 10 million next fiscal year. So that's why we're going to kind of be like real tight this year, but hopefully we will broaden it in the next fiscal year. And additionally, besides the general fund, we're expecting like 4.7 in restricted funding or grants. And so our overall budget, we're expecting it to be $72.2 million this year, this fiscal year. And I'm going over this pretty fast, so if you guys have any questions later, you can always come to my office or you can ask me about it later when I'm in the area too as well. I'm giving you like top level. And for our budget this year, the president got 2.8 million and provost got 7.6 and external campus got 715,000, and then student success got 1.7 million. And then my department got 12.2 million. So that kind of totals it out. Oh, sorry. Wrong button. Right there is our budget. And this is just a comparison from last year, and there's the difference right there. And the reason why that budget went up a lot was because they have a new office that was created. It's called the Chief of Staff's office, and that's why that president's amount went up. And the provost and the student success, most of those decreases, we're trying to make it up on the restricted fund side. So they went down, but then they're being made up on the other side under restricted funds. And for my department, our budget is 12.2 million. And the reason why is we pick up a lot of the institutional costs, like utilities, our legal fees, and all those different costs like that. So that's the reason why my department's budget is higher than everybody else. And this is a comparison for year over year. Some of the accomplishments that we did in Department of, in my department, Finance and Administration, I oversee finance and accounting, IT, security, human resources, and operation and maintenance. And some of the accomplishment that we did, which I mentioned earlier in accounting, is the clean audit, no findings, which is great. And we also just closed out the 23-24 in Jinzabar, our software platform. And then we also transferred some, or digitized, I guess, our forms. Our travel authorizations and our vehicle requests are online now, and we do that on a daily basis. People use that. And of course, we got the budget approved. And just to give you how much work that the department does, 29,610 payments that were processed through accounting, the business office. And then for IT, they deployed 300 laptops and 100 hotspots for students. And they deployed 10 copiers on the network scanners. And they also helped install the Canvas, Canvas and Case IQ, which is for, Title IX reporting. And then we also upgraded the broadband for Tuba City, Aneth, and Newcomb. And then, of course, the Jinzabar student information system was upgraded to the latest version, and they installed Rave security alert system software too as well. And then they also are upgrading the Hogan housing Wi-Fi, and they installed some outdoor cameras for Crown Point, installed 100 backup systems for around the campus. And they also did Teams voice integration for 100 users, and then improved the ticketing system as well. And then they also improved upgraded the firewall system too for Saley. Human Resources is reviewing and updating policies, and then they're doing the FERPA reporting, training, and Case IQ, and working on the supplemental retirement plans. And then also the insurance administration was also moved under their department too as well. And then they approved the DC housing policy and implemented student wellness program. And this year they hired 173 faculty and 63 students. And for security, they do a lot of training. They have 3 certified instructors now in defensive driving, first aid, and CPR. And then 4 officers certified on bike patrol. And they installed the Clery reporting. And then also, we also did our Clery reporting right at the end of the month when during the end of our fiscal year too, they also did that. So, and then for our maintenance and operation, they upgraded their deferred maintenance inventory listing, switched the faculty usage to online, and they renovated 20 housing units, and they upgraded their SOPs for maintenance, and then they implemented SharePoint in their department. And also they're collaborating with roads, the BIA roads, to put speed bumps on the circle, and also to get the striping also upgraded too as well for this year. For our strategic plan, we use a design plan that was established last year, which incorporates quality growth, accessibility, facility, holistic integration, culture and environment, campus safety, and wellness. Oops, what did I do? Okay, so for our strategic plan, some of the things that we're going to be working on is improving the onboarding, evaluation, the timely evaluation inputs and stuff, and then supplemental retirement plan, compensation analysis and updates, FERPA training, IQ accessibility for Title IX reporting for students and staff, which will be online. And then we're planning to get a safety compliance officer to upgrade all the ADA compliance that are deficient on the campus too as well. And then, of course, we're always trying to streamline our processes. And then hopefully we're also going to get our solar farm online too. We're waiting for a transformer, and that's the only thing we're waiting for right now, which is being shipped from, I think, from foreign, I don't know, China or something. And so once that gets here, we're going to incorporate that into the system. And we'll keep you updated on that too as well. And we're trying to automate inventory for O&M, bookstore, and general services, and then upgrade the POC for the cafeteria. Why is it not working? Okay, so in spite of all the accomplishments, of course, there's always challenges that we have on an annual basis, and one of the challenges that we have is recruitment. We have a hard time recruiting qualified staff and faculty, and of course that's due to sometimes housing, lack of housing, and we're trying to work on that too as well. And then we're trying to improve our onboarding processes and do more training in policy and procedures so that we can continue to have the no findings going forward too as well, so everybody is informed on what the processes are and procedures are going forward, so we don't have to keep telling people or telling our employees, you need to do this, this, and this. They can do it sort of on their own if they just look at the policies. And how do we do that? We do a lot more training. And also the other challenges that we face is the aging infrastructure. Our buildings have been here for I would say over 40 years, and there's a lot of aging and deteriorating structures like the sewer line, water lines, and it's all underneath the buildings or in the buildings, you know, where we can't see it. So those are the kinds of repairs that we need going forward, and we'll try to find some fundings to upgrade all those buildings. And thank you. And before I leave, I want to say thank you to the staff and the faculty, and then, of course, the students. We appreciate them being here and wanting to learn, and we're always here to help you in any way you need help in. You just need to let us know so that we can find a way to overcome any issues that you might be having. And thank you.
Okay. Wow, thank you so much, Chair, Madam Chair, for giving us that awesome information. And well, we do have another, well, it's not another, but we do have our next presenter still with us over here on the stage, giving us our presentation into his committee. So we'll just get our awesome chair, Greg Bigman, back up here again.
Thank you. So this committee is a tough committee, and I'll explain why. One is that we had an interim provost, and as some of you guys know, when you have an interim, it's like you're there, but you're not really there. And also we had rotations within our, with the president for the faculty association. So there was a bit of challenges, but one of the things we started to lay down as a committee is what some of the priorities were. And that's what the provost will talk about. So this committee, the composition is of myself as the board chair. We also have our student regent, Jalen Small Kenny, that sits on this committee. We also have a seat for the faculty association, recently most filled by Milton Bluehouse. We also have a seat for Dr. Russell, VP Haskey, and the provost. So provost will carry on from here.
Good morning. I am the provost as of 3 weeks ago. Dr. Russell just announced that. Thank you, Dr. Barber. That's my fan. The way I look at it is I had a whole year of experience before I took on the permanent position, so I'm cheating a little bit. But as Dr. Russell said, we're serious and we have work to do. So let me introduce myself really quickly, and then I'll talk about the Academic and Student Success Committee. Again, my name is Elisa Landry. I've been on the Navajo Nation for 17 years. I've been at Diné College for 5 years. My father's family comes from northern and central Utah, and my mother's family comes from southern Utah and Blue Water, New Mexico. If you don't know where that is, that's actually near Grants. It's a very rural area. So some of the priorities that we talked about in the Academic and Student Success Committee this past year include HLC requirements for face-to-face versus online learning, deficits in our academic and co-curricular assessment processes, launching a training program for faculty and staff interested in doing research, preparing for a focused visit from the HLC in November of 2025, and then creating an academic master plan that will guide discussions for the next 5 years. About a year ago, if you remember, we learned that waivers put into place by the Federal Education Department that allowed schools to continue teaching online during the pandemic without restrictions actually expired. This came 6 months after the COVID-19 pandemic ended. At that time, as you can see from the slide, 80% of our courses were online. So we made concerted efforts in the spring of 2024 to start bringing students and faculty back to our campuses. However, as you know, this was a complicated issue, one that most colleges and universities around the world faced as we transitioned out of the pandemic. So here on the Navajo Nation, while we were on lockdown and weekend curfews, higher education actually changed, it evolved. So when the pandemic ended, we needed to figure out how to meet our students' needs, while ensuring that faculty and students had the skills to succeed in a new landscape that includes almost as much online learning as it does kind of traditional face-to-face learning. As schools transitioned out of the pandemic and returned to face-to-face courses, most of the schools in the country actually realized that students preferred or even demanded options for online learning. To help us address this, the HLC published some guidelines. And you can see those on the bottom left-hand side of the slide. So according to the HLC, all faculty teaching online, regardless of modality, have to have an online teaching credential. Here at Diné College, by fall of 2025, all faculty who are teaching online in any modality will have that online teaching credential. Avery, you don't have to have that because you're teaching face-to-face. In fact, about 30% of our faculty are still teaching 100% face-to-face. Second, assessment activities have to compare the quality of courses across modalities. And then online courses must show what the HLC and the Federal Education Department are calling regular and substantive interaction. In other words, our online courses can no longer be glorified correspondence courses. It no longer works to post assignments or even video lectures if we don't also find other, more meaningful ways of engaging with our students. So this will be a priority in the coming year. In April 2023, the HLC did a mid-cycle review of Diné College and found that we were lacking in our academic and co-curricular assessment activities. That's Napoleon Dynamite for you. Starting with my interim position in June of 2023, the Provost Office and academics have really focused heavily on assessment. This also includes student services who are doing the co-curricular assessment. So in the last 12 months or so, we reestablished the Office of Assessment under the Provost's office and hired a Director of Assessment and Curriculum. She is actually here, so I want to go ahead and call out to Michaela Largo and Kendra Begay, who are our assessment team. We also hired an assessment and accreditation consultant who produced an assessment of our assessment process report that is available for anybody who wants to see that. We have a revised assessment handbook and we have revised assessment reporting templates to simplify the existing processes. My assessment team is right now meeting with all of our academic programs, all 43 of them, to train faculty and get those templates filled out. So by the end of this semester, we will have a baseline for assessment. Woo! With help from Canvas, faculty are actually already collecting their artifacts for assessment, and the first analysis of data to occur will happen in assessment days this December. And then finally, we wanted to strengthen our network with Student Affairs to increase the evidence of expanding co-curricular assessment. So academics is working hand in hand with Student Affairs to make sure that we're assessing all of the programs that affect students. In conjunction with the research office, we're actually working to launch a faculty research leadership program in spring of 2025. The Academic and Student Success Committee actually approved this at our June meeting. This will be open to any faculty or staff member interested in pursuing research or sponsored projects. This will require 7 in-person workshops, and then participants who develop an actual grant proposal will receive stipends after they submit that. Now the big one. Since the HLC's visit in 2023, Diné College has been on interim monitoring status, which basically means we were given 2.5 years to address the findings and present new evidence showing that we are using assessment tools to improve teaching and learning and to inform program growth and institutional budgeting. So we have what's called a focused visit scheduled for November 17th and 18th, 2025. My assessment team created this map for us. So quickly, during the fall of 2024, we are again working on revisions to our assessment plan and templates. During the spring of 2025, we will complete our first assessment cycle. By the summer of 2025, we will have a first assessment reports that documents our process, but more importantly, helps us make sound decisions to improve student learning based on data. Next fall, so a year from now, we will submit a report to the HLC and then host a visit from the HLC in November. Right now, today, I can tell you that we are right on track. The work we are doing now will more than satisfy our reviewers from the HLC, but more importantly, it is helping us establish habits that will lead to a culture of continuous improvement. In the spirit of transparency, we are launching a focused visit website that will document our progress while also being a permanent home for assessment data, templates, and reporting. So starting right now, our assessment data will be visible to anyone in the Diné College community. And then finally, I wanted to quickly talk about some of our priorities and plans for the coming year and 5 years. So under academics, our goals are to prioritize academic programs that lead to employment on or around the Navajo Nation, to increase graduation rates by creating a student-centered culture across all areas of academics, to strengthen the applied research agenda, to enhance teaching and learning practices through strategic recruiting and professional development, to implement an assessment process that yields regular, actionable data and that informs all program changes, including development of new programs, sunsetting of underperforming programs, and transitioning programs online. And then finally, to define quality education at Diné College and ensure that the quality of courses is consistent across locations and modalities. You see at the bottom of this slide, there's also some priorities from Student Affairs. I will turn the time over to Mr. Thomas Bennett, who is the Associate Director of Student Affairs, to complete this presentation.
Good morning. Thank you. I kind of feel like a little cloudy, fuzzy. I mistakenly got my COVID and flu vaccine yesterday evening. And so it's like, it's kind of affecting me. Don't worry, it's not Shiprock Fair fever. Again, my name is Thomas Bennett. I work at Shiprock. I'm the person that works closely with Vice President Glenita Haskey, who couldn't be here this morning. Student affairs, we're always looking at ways to improve the services. We would love to hear input from students on what we're doing right and where can we improve, not only from Tsaili, but from Shiprock, Tuba City, Window Rock, Crown Point, Newcomb, and Aneth. That's a lot of students, but we need to figure out how can we improve our services. We work mostly under Title III. The grant is going to be funded for 1 more year, then we'll reapply for another 5 years. So we want to know what kinds of services or what are the needs of students so we can incorporate it into the new Title III grant looking forward in the future, because we really want to make sure we're doing a service to our students. Some of the things that we're looking at now is we're monitoring and measuring student contact methods and outcomes, because we want to make sure that what we're doing now is really helping the students succeed. That's number one. We want to make sure we're updating our policies so that we can have more efficient services. I know that there have been numerous complaints about some of our services, but again, we want to improve them and really make them work better for you. And then reassess the enrollment barriers. I know we have students who might be single parents who need assistance with their parents, because if a parent does well in school and graduates, then it has a positive impact on their children. And so we want to look at other barriers as well. I know in the past about 30% of the students were caring for an elderly family member. So we need to know about that. How can we provide services? Those are the issues that come up. And of course, everybody going through COVID was such a hardship, and a lot of people experienced loss. We have student mental health coordinators who can provide some assistance, but we need to figure out what else can we do and what else can we do better. So we really encourage you to please stop by the Student Success Center here. We have one in Shiprock as well, or talk to any of the advisors in ways of how we can make improvements, because it's for the students and you are paying, and so we want to make sure we give you the best service we can. And a final note, we had a career day in Shiprock, and I talked to an FBI person, Navajo woman who worked with the FBI. She was she was working in Albuquerque. And she said, oh, I lived in Chinle, and when I was in high school, I really wanted to go to Diné College. But my high school counselor told me, no, you need to go to a university. So that's one of the challenges that we have to face, our recruiters, our college orientation specialists, and all of us, because even though we might say come to Diné College, we are accredited. We see our students go on to become success. I keep thinking about Dr. Wolfert Dinetla, who went to Shiprock and came here. Now he's a research professor at one of the California universities, and I always see him on Facebook and all the great things he's doing with his students. So Diné College is really a wonderful place. I took classes here, and I can see the benefits of that. And most of the staff here have taken classes here. So it is a wonderful place, and I really appreciate that. But thank you. Student? Oh, he's waving over there. It's like a shiny object. So what's that? But these are the learning outcomes that we're looking at, and we want to make sure that what we do is going to help students. Was this the only slide at this point? Okay. See, I told you I'm kind of fuzzy from my vaccinations. But thank you. Thank you very much.
All righty. So we just heard from our provost, Miss Alyssa Landry, as well as the executive. Hold on. I am totally missing that, but big shout out to our speakers. So we're going to be getting into a section that was not in recent years' annual report meetings. So here in just a bit, we're going to be hearing from a few students. You'll see them up here. They'll be going over a few of their student experiences over the past year here at the campus, or better with Diné College in general. So before we get into that, actually, I wanted to share a bit of my own experience. I am a student. I totally forgot to mention that when I was doing my introduction, but I'm a student here at Diné College. I've been going here for a good, better part of over a year, and I'm in the business administration program. I'm more or less a student of economics and political science, but since they don't have that here, I am here with business administration, and this is literally one of the better experiences I've had on a campus in, I would say, ever. I've never really been to a college that has this sort of, or this big of an emphasis on holistic integration, cultural importance, and so it's very much, just as a Native American student myself, it's very much a better experience to be had. And working with the Warrior radio station here under marketing, it's been just amazing. I mean, working on public speaking skills as well as just regular old communication skills. I mean, it's a lot more of a hands-on college than like I said, have experienced, and just having that, pathway for students, to work and go to school, do whatever they need to do. They have lives outside of our classes, but definitely a great opportunity is always going to be found here within the college for the students. And that's a big emphasis that we're putting on for everyone here, is that Diné College is for the students, and I very much feel that that is true. So like I said, I don't want to take too much of your time. I do usually like to ramble every now and again. But with that, we're going to get into our first student experience with our very own. Let's have her introduce herself. Come on up and give her a I was doing so good introducing everyone, but let's actually get an introduction to our students themselves. So with that, I'll pass this mic on over to these guys.
Good morning. Ado na Shinigi, Hanagatni, Kisani Bashichin, Ado, Sedesgiji Dashache, Ado, Noda Adashanale, Kyle Curry, Wilson Inishia, Tonanestizi de Nasha. So I was asked to share my experience and just a little bit of history about me. I've been here for 2 years. Like I said, I'm from Tuba City, Arizona. I relocated with half of my family here. The other half of my family is still in Tuba City. So why did I choose Diné College? Well, a lot of it had to do with my work history. I had 12 years with the Navajo Nation, working with Department for Self-Reliance and the REBA, Regional Behavioral Health, doing a lot of case management, and I experienced a lot of disconnect, because earlier I saw one of the slides say that 82% of the student body here is not traditional. Well, that was me. So I chose Diné College because Diné College has a history and culture built within the psychology program. Courses like the Foundation of Navajo Culture, Navajo Psychology, Diné Bazad, Navajo Holistic Healing. I wasn't going to get that education anywhere else but here. Out of the most influential classes that I took, it was a class that I was not planning on taking. I had a class that was dropped from the course listing because there wasn't enough students. So I had to look at this list, and I decided to choose Psych 383, Theories of Personality. This course required me a lot of self-analyzation and understanding others in professional and personal settings and situations. Out of this course, the most stimulating assignment, both enjoyable and challenging, was the final writing project. It required me to identify 3 concept theories and how each of those concept theories presented itself in both my personal and professional life, and what limits and potentials that exist. In the end, I learned that the most essential in preparing and building my career was that I needed to learn about myself, my culture, and why I do what I do and what I can do about it. So in the end, I knew this program would fulfill the gaps in my traditional identity, which it has a lot, thanks to Dr. Denny. I sat in many of his classes, and I appreciate that they were in person. Also, along with building those gaps, it supported building meaningful connections with my potential clients and families. And that's what, Dene culture and tradition is what I learned is built on, building those connections that we're all family, which is a lot different than Western knowledge and teachings and even, providing services. So in the end, for me, it was the grants, the family housing that was made available. That was my sign, my kick in the butt to say I need to finish what I started 24 years ago. I'm glad to say that I'll be earning my bachelor's degree in both psychology and an associate's degree in health occupations this December. And give me another, thank you. And I hope and plan that in another 2 years that I'll become a licensed counselor and working here on the Navajo Nation, either in substance abuse counseling or school counseling. And I'm hoping and crossing my fingers that that MA degree comes from Dene College. Thank you.
Good job. Wow. Huge shout out to Kylie over there leaving the stage. Now, one of the things, one of the things going on this week is midterms, and so she kind of had to get her thing done and running off to a midterm over there. So shout out to you and good luck on that midterm over there. So, yes, big round of applause for midterms. So with that, we're going to be going on to our next student with his with his experience, Mr. Terrence Woody. So come on up here and introduce yourself, and we'll have him take over the mic.
Alanet do yadat shikero shirene shashne kilichini in the shadow ashi pashin na dan et kapadish chedok is ankinani eda shinale na din doba ana creation nahe akut ak is anido the nehaski in the shlem shimasane doshichi en le tedes aha ashi yahol ado ya nuguanta langba nu Terrence Woody nu hanangwa nu by kuz and kwitsu. Hello, my name is Terrence Woody. I am 22 years old, born both from the Navajo and the Hopi tribe. From the Hopi tribe, I am from the Dewa Bear Clan. I was raised by my grandparents in Shango Povi, the Hopi Reservation, and I was raised by my grandparents in Rock Point, Arizona. Okay, here we go. During my time at Dene College as a sophomore, first-generation college student, also double majoring in my AA and BA of Dene Studies, and the vice president of the Red Dawn Powwow Club of Dene College, I felt like I learned so many to what is taught in the Dene Study courses and Navajo language courses, from being reacquainted with students and faculties to meeting new individuals. Where'd it go? Oh. From the School of Dene Studies, I learned about the values of our Navajo holistic healing, learning about the origins of the doctrine of K'eh and Hajon, implementing Sa'anare B'K'eh Hajon, how they intertwine within our daily lives as Dene. The reason I chose to study in the School of Dene Studies was because of my grandparents. One of the oldest words inspired by my grandmother was She'awet Nza Halebe Nijye Ba Aholya Hala Ebi Yeto Ina Da Hateteh, which would translate to, my child, take good care of yourself, take care of your heart, whatever is in it, and take care of your life. Growing up, I had faced many challenges learning the language, our traditions, and our ceremonial songs, because I'm the next future generation to carrying on my uncle's wisdom, becoming Hanatali within my family. What I plan into the future is pursuing my AA and BA of Dene Studies here at Dene College and continue with Masters of Arts in Education and into my doctorates of education. I shared with my birth mother about my plan. She was thrilled. And my intern supervisor, Dr. Nanaba Sam, who's sitting by Patrick Blackwater, she encouraged me to reach that. She said, I'm also a Senate intern under her at the 4th floor in the NHC Museum. To conclude, in my classes, One of my memorable moments would be with Mr. Lorenzo Max, Mr. Raj Manali, Mr. Thomas Littleben, Mr. David Nez, and Mr. James Nez, who taught me very well with the Dene history, Dene language, especially the ceremonial songs, and most of all, learning to do Navajo public speaking. Let's go.
Wow. All righty. We have some good speakers up here today. So thank you on that, Mr. Terrence. So next we have Crystal. We have Crystal Nelson here with us, and she was, come on up. Oh my gosh. And correct me if I'm wrong, you were under the marketing as well, right? Yes. Yes. So she'll be coming up. Let me just pass this over to Crystal, and then we'll get on with the next speaker. But yeah, other than that, come on up here. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. She'er Crystal Nelson Yinishia, Kia Ani Bashichin. I mean, Torajini Nishla, Kia Ani Bashichin, Tachini Dashate, and Hanagani Dashanale. I was asked today to kind of speak upon my experiences as a student in the Bachelor's of Fine Arts and Graphic Design. I'm actually in my third year of the Bachelor's program, and actually I've been here for about 5 years. I graduated with an associate's degree in health occupation back in 2022. Unfortunately, during that time, it was during when COVID happened, so I didn't exactly get the first year experience of a student because when COVID hit, we were kind of just basically pushed to online. So it was a little challenging to kind of get classes done, especially when you're doing biology, when you're doing fundamental science, chemistry, and everything. It's just a lot to deal with. So I actually wanted to just kind of talk more about my experience with graphic design. From the beginning, I had no experience at all. I didn't really exactly know how to operate a computer rather than just only learning about Microsoft, Excel, PowerPoint, just the basics of that. So when I was taking these classes, I was actually being taught by a faculty member who doesn't work here anymore, Mr. Matthew Bollinger. He was really encouraging and very excited for students to kind of be online. And I think he made it more comfortable for us students to also get the experience of communicating and talking so that we don't lose that sort of disconnection from one another. So it was nice to know that we always gave critiques at the end of every project, and so it made it much more easier for me to get to know students. And now, from just last semester, I was taking in-person classes, and it was actually kind of weird because I was normally always online. But when I actually got the experience to be in the classroom with the students and getting to know my classmates, it was really fun. I liked that I was able to get to know the people who I only heard their voices through Zoom, so I had to kind of take away the whole screen of just their names and then just kind of replace that with who they are. So I just wanted to kind of give thanks to my teachers as well, Mr. Sheldon Harvey, the master, in art, and also Mr. Teddy Draper, who is really funny because he taught me not to be so scared of a lot of things. And it's really nice to know that our teachers kind of give us that guidance with the courses that we take. So I also wanted to kind of mention some accomplishments as far as working with the Ascetium Project. I've never really heard of the Ascetium Project just until last semester in the summer. It was nice to know that Cameo was able to take a chance with me to kind of get me that experience that I needed for students to kind of work more in their related field. So they put me in marketing and communications, and at first I was a little nervous because I didn't think that I would have the skills or the knowledge to kind of work with people who already know where they are in advancements. But I think that kind of rubbed off onto me because now I feel twice as accomplished with being able to get projects done right away, to kind of work with everybody and to kind of meet everybody as well in the office, because I think that's also one of the important things is to kind of have communication with faculty members. They kind of also were guiding me through understanding who's who, where things need to be done, and even asking for my own suggestions as well. So it's nice to know that I can be handed personal and individual work, and they can trust it on the fact that what designs I'm making. But I just wanted to kind of talk about the time within the marketing team. I've learned very important communication lessons as far as researching, developing brands, strategic planning, and technical communication that teaches me as a student to kind of break down complex information and to make it easier for myself to understand. I, as a student, have been entrusted with, like I said before, taking on individual work. And this has actually helped me a lot to kind of gain a lot of confidence in decision making, because at first I would be very hesitant about what decisions or what kind of graphics I was adding on to anything. So it was nice that Patrick was able to let me be part of the annual report that you guys see. So it was nice to know that some of my suggestions, some of my ideas made it into the annual report. So that's one of my, smaller accomplishments. But most importantly, what I have learned when in the marketing is that it helps produce the world to, or it helps promote, sell, and distribute services to their clients, and even a way for myself to be promoted and to kind of, I guess, later in the future, promote the things that I want to do as a designer. I just want to say thank you to my bosses, Chris and Patrick, for really allowing me to gain as much experience as possible and even helping me correct my mistakes at an earlier age with understanding and communication. I also would like to thank the American Indian College Fund, who is funding me right now to kind of work with the team and continuing working and continuing getting more knowledge as far as what goes on within the marketing field, so that one day that I may apply this to, a future job after I'm done graduating. So thank you.
Wow, all righty. And we are on to our penultimate speaker for these student experiences. Now, a lot of people sometimes are like, well, you're throwing out big words, and penultimate is usually, it's not usually actually, penultimate just means that it's the second to last. So with that, we have Talia Laughter here with us, and she'll be giving her experience, and then we'll move on to our last speaker after this.
Thank you. Yat eshik edoshedene don nantine. She ate seteshkijninishle. Nanisht ejetrachini washichin, kintlachini dashichet, hodijitni dashanella. She ate Talia Laughter yinisha. Lachi dant nasha. Shahastin a Jason Laughter will ya. Do ashla shalchine. Kutego dinestanishle. Good morning, Board of Regents, President Russell, student body government, staff, and student peers. I would just like to first say thank you for having me here. It's really awesome. I'm a remote learning student, so I'm always glad to come here. My kids were hoping to go fishing, but they're waiting patiently for us. So we're just excited to be here. Home is, as everybody always says, this is an excellent place to be. I've recently earned an associate in science and mathematics from Dannett College last year, and I was really excited this year to hear about the Navajo Nation Law Program, which I am in the School of Business and Social Sciences. It was something that immediately caught my interest, and I'm glad to be a part of it. It's a unique program. It's an extraordinary program with expert instructors, Navajo instructors, and professionals. So I just encourage any of you that are interested in it, look into it, and because we need the leaders, we need people that care about our interests here, but professional people that can represent ourselves also. This year I'm taking Navajo Public Speaking. In our class, we're encouraged to be organized speakers. So we're encouraged to map our ideas together, to have clear, concise communications with our audience, and to express our thoughts effectively. These are valuable tools for students to speak clearly and confidently in a professional manner. And I'd like to thank Professor James Nez for teaching us and presenting it in a culturally contextualized way in the Navajo way. So That's one class that I have. Another one is the Intro to Legal Studies. And this is laying the foundation of the judicial system. And so far, the course content has been intense, as you could imagine, because we're learning how to read and review legal documents, opinions, and cases. It's intimidating because they use words that are not English, but a lot of Latin. And coming across this, I didn't really understand the jargon. So I had to ask Professor Bluehouse, can we get a dictionary? So we did get it, and I ordered it, and no kidding, it's this thick. It's huge, and it increased everything, but it's amazing because it helps us to understand. The work went up, but so did my understanding. So I just want to say thank you, Professor Bluehouse, for encouraging us and stretching our understanding and our skills to build our knowledge and judicial studies while we're here at Diné College. So in the future, I want to use this degree to help our most vulnerable community members. We all know somebody with special needs or different abilities, and a lot of times they get described as being people who can't help themselves. So I would love to advocate for them, to come alongside the families, and to assist them with educational and personal goals as they're growing from babies onto adulthood and into the prime of their lives, right? This passion comes about from my own life experience. I'm a mother to a daughter who was born with Down syndrome. Right now she's 3 years old. And it's been the ultimate journey and the ultimate adventure. There's a lot of resources that we've had to come to know and to take advantage of, and I would love to come alongside other families, other young moms who are facing those challenges because sometimes you just don't know what to do, you don't know where to turn. So our family is starting a nonprofit to help. We have welcome baskets for any new children that are born with Down syndrome, and we're focusing on Navajos at this point because that's what we know. So if you know of anyone that has a baby born with Down syndrome, have them contact me, please, so that we can welcome the baby, we can celebrate the life, and just be an encouragement to the family, the mother, the father, the siblings, and everybody, so that the baby can just be cherished and prepared for life that they have. But back to the Navajo Nation law, that's where my passion is to help those and to just be able to be a resource, to be a friend, and to be a helping hand to those that could use it. So I just want to give my sincere thanks to Dean Patrick Blackwater for championing this Navajo Nation law program, for recruiting students, and just continue to inspire our Navajo students. So thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. Like I said, we do have one more student. Now this student is with us on Zoomland. So let's see if we, can you hear us out there? Well, it looks like we're just going to get right on into our next presenters here. We have HR Director Dr. Perfilia Fowler and Board Member Regent Ambria Tolino. So give a big round of applause as they make their way up into this here podium. So
Yat she Ambria Tolino dashijine. Look at the Nishle, Toheglini Bashichin, Chisha Tende Dashiche, Twitchini Dashanella. I'm originally from Kindilid, which is located here in Saley, Arizona, right below the Saley Peak. And today I represent the Governance Committee along with Dr. Perfilia Fowler. And before I begin, I just wanted to welcome everybody to our 2024 Diné College annual meeting. And I also want to send recognition and thank you to our past and current committee members of the Governance Committee. It requires a lot of hard work dedication, and strategic work ethics. The Governance Committee primarily consists of a committee chair, vice chair, secretary, and 2 committee members. The role of the committee as a main resource to the board is to create strategic plans that guide the college towards its committee goals, in which we will cover here shortly. The committee will oversee the development and amendments to personnel compensations, board training and performance assessments, as well as implementation of performance evaluation of the college president, and develop college personnel training, as well as review and amend the college bylaws, policies, and procedures. As we implement the teachings of Sa'an Nagay Bik'e Hojon and continuously improve our programs and services to make Diné College the exemplary higher education institution of the Diné people, the Governance Committee continues to support healthy functions of the board to carry out its due diligence. And with that, I'll turn it over to Shema, Dr. Perfilia Fowler, with the presentation. Ahiyahat.
Shady leadership edge, my dish gives in Slant Torich in Bashichin, Aro Trapahanta Chagot, Ashetashanala, Akado Trotus Aholiero, Aro is a Chashike, Aro Eya Dal Nishipik, Desti, Ajashana Nishnat, Aro Behas Ani, Hashine La Kit Danili, Edo, Latobik Edinch in what are Asiana Nishnat. It's a ya by yet nasil Kadoshayash, Bendat Solizan Behain Zit or Senden Yehe, Ado Shanat Arnolini, Nskago Yehe, Nihido, Ado Anit a Nail Nishigi, not Ani Needle, what are a yadi, Behes Anin Lini, Behadet a ko you okay, Hin Antin the Hollando, Besitze, Ado Beyelt. Bansi Kesto, Benahuit Ado, Be Ina il Ido Besitinitzen, Ako Eba Jensen, Ado Adenik Echo Eya Kodo, Ben Hitch and Hasti, Lokodi Behes Anin Lini, Big Des Ido, Bel Ketan Nelly, Yis Committee, Lini, what our Governance Committee, what our Ben Hit Oche. Ako, I'd like to thank all of us, our leaders, our visitors, Shaz Tui Suzani, Zel Ketosh, Yeh, Qua. So with my presentation, I'm going to be very brief as committee members. Committee members, there is a chair, vice chair, both of them are vacant. Our secretary, Amberia Tolino, members, Shiyaj Monty Russell, and then myself. With that, the purpose was explained by Amberia. We have a purpose, our strategic direction and oversight pertaining to these matters. We do have several virtual meetings throughout the academic year, Q1, 2, and they're all virtual meetings that we have held. Some of the accomplishments are institutional priorities and employee opportunities. We've approved the Diné College housing policies, completed the President's annual evaluation, approved the Articles of Incorporation of the Seahison Holding, and then the approved the supplemental retirement plans, and then approved the employee wellness program. Some of our upcoming goals for institutional priorities: review and amend outdated college policies and procedures, expand on shared governance, improve the employee onboarding process, I believe that was mentioned as well, and improve on employee compensation plan. Our employee opportunities to implement CEU hours, employee professional development training, and implement the employee financial literacy plan, and then also the initiative employee supplemental program. So at end el hinet go eti naskon et nechi be enanit erole. Ado ha ishtot nahat nido shas twisizani to tel kent doshich e ken ado kon ni hinan nishta holoniki jo yisa Allah na ihlani eti be estiniki e ni hizado ni he ol ihlani nas do elzenda dan hit on ni hadash tanit edo lehle nez nado na dinachike njuno dat ilhiln deil nishto le njuno tek e hiti nido le jo ein hinch kejik edo shidne Hajol yadaltke, Sadiat ehi, Belch yadaltke. Ha the shin late, Halchinin he yajin he await and leaning he dahant or dahta ditne, Epa eat to epa seats. A cohon sugar she asked so. Alt so a delicious or ni cohon sugar ish lad or le oh you been hat ado or you be his ani dark son danel. So we are working diligently in improving all our policies, amending all our policies. We have over 21 policies. And I'd like to thank our governance committee, and then we will move forward in addressing a lot of these issues within our institution. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Fowler, for that. And I just wanted to also point out that, sorry, excuse me. I also wanted to recognize as well, or also give a good shout out to everyone still watching on Facebook Live or YouTube, or listening in on the radio broadcast KXWR 92.1. We are still here at the 2024 annual meeting. We're actually inside the Student Union Building Activity Room and on the main campus, of course. So with those presenters, of course, leaving the stage, we are going to get a couple words in from our president again, Dr. Charles Monty Russell. So without further ado, we'll just let him take it away.
So to be clear, this is for the business development. Because we're kind of muffled. Oh, fundraising. Okay, all right. Sounds good, sounds good. You know, I think one of the things that, and I didn't share it in my my report, but I'd like, first of all, thank you for reminding me. I think one of the things that's really important is that when we talk about it, and you see that revenue sharing graph that Bo Lewis as well as Regent Bigman shared in terms of the Finance and Audit Committee, is that we continually look for new revenue streams. And that's important. We can't always rely on the federal government. We can't always rely on the tribal government. We can't always rely on tuition. What are other avenues? That's the traditional view of higher education, right? You get tuition, you pay for it, you get the scholarships, all of that kind of stuff. Well, we're in a different mode right now. I think we're in a different era. We're in a different place in terms of what does it mean going forward. So when I was first hired 7.5 years ago, whatever that might look like, one of the directives the board then, and many of the members are still on the board, was that we need to try to raise our fundraising. We need to find ways that we can lift up alternative revenue streams. And so we focused on that. We've had some good years and some bad years. Right now, we're coming off a kind of a slow year, but a slow year meaning we had $1.2 million, and that was promised us. We haven't received it yet because they want to see a plan before they release the money. So that's not bad. I think Regent Bigman tells a story that, you know, when he first came on the board, there was, you know, maybe $20,000, $30,000 raised. Now we're in the millions. And that allows us to jumpstart certain programs. What do I mean by that? So one of the things that I think we're able to do, and this is where we got some of the funding, we're starting up the Diné College Press. And we're able to use donor money, very specific uses, to start that up. So we're not using general fund, we're not using grants, but we're using foundation money. So the fundraising is trying to help us like kickstart certain ideas. And what's really exciting for me right now is that we just hired a new development officer, Crystal Littleben. I think, you know, her skill set is perfect for what we're looking at going forward. You know, she's known throughout. She's fearless, and so I'm looking forward to some good things. I also want to shout out to Dean Tutt and his team at Shiprock. This past summer, we held a golf tournament, raised I think in the in the annual report, it mentions like $46,000. And that's utilizing now going to academic programs. So these are things that we're able to do, and we now can start growing in bigger ideas there. I also sit on the board of the American Indian College Fund, and I'm on the development committee. So I'm taking ideas that I learned there and what we can do in terms of donor mining. How do we try to find donors? You know, you don't just sit there and start calling people, you know, would you like to do this? You start looking at different things. It's very specific. So there are things that we now have in place now that we have some staff or a staff that we can move forward. So in terms of funding, the amount of money that we raised last year was promised to us, about $1.2 million. But that won't be coming in till this fiscal year. But still, I think it's important to note that that's a nice number. And previously we had raised, I think, 2.4 million. So, you know, our efforts for a small but scrappy school is doing pretty well. So I look forward to seeing what the future holds in this area. Now, fundraising across the board has dropped. One of the things that really happened during the pandemic is donors started looking at it much more personal. So in the past, they were, you know, giving money to foundations, causes, whatever. Now that what they saw is that, you know what, the pandemic was so personal that they're giving more money to their local organizations. So like their local Red Cross, their local hospital, because somebody in their family suffered from, say, the pandemic. So the drop has been pretty steep, actually. It's over 20% in giving across the entire spectrum. I think we're unique, though. We're positioned in a place that we can actually, I think, access donors in a different way because our mission is so unique. And so that's something that we'll be working on over the next few months, and then present that to the board as a plan going forward. So thank you, and that's my short report on fundraising.
Alrighty, so of course we just heard about fundraising from our president, Dr. My gosh, I am losing at this. So Dr. Charles Monty Russell, thank you so much. You're still here on Zoom land with us for tuning in. So also kind of to move on to the next part, we have our very own honorable chair, Ms. Teresa Hatathi, up here with us. She is going to be going over the business development and ad hoc. So another round of applause. And again, thank you so much, President.
I chair the Business Development Ad Hoc Committee. Myself, as well as Regent Bigman, and then also Regent Todachitni. So over this past year, we haven't done a lot of activity, but last year, what's notable that came out of our committee was the CHASN committee, or the CHASN Holdings. And so currently, looking down the road, we're looking at, as Dr. Russell mentioned, our Diné College Press, our wool mill, and then also the agricultural component that we have had numerous conversations on. So most importantly, we also have the mobile meat processing unit. So those are, there's many aspects of these projects. The mobile meat processing unit, we have farmers here on Navajo, and so ranchers, and so many times the meat is sold, or the animals are sold and they're taken to another state, and then it's routed back for marketing. And so in our situation, we want to make it so that we're able to help the economic development of our local ranchers and our local farmers. Then also we have our Diné College Press. It's been here for a number of years. And then when it's resting, I guess, but when it comes back, we have a lot of ideas. We have wonderful, beautiful individuals who are esteemed colleagues to one another here within the college. So it's great to know that we have individuals who have years of education, who have years of experience. We want to be able to let them know that they can come here and they can write their books and their teaching materials for our own community. So that's another thing that we wanted to make sure that we continue to strive forward. Then our windmills, or our wool processing aspect of this is we have people who own sheep, and then we have people who do rug weaving. We have a native, our Navajo Cultural Arts program here at Diné College, so we want to expound upon that too, so that we can raise the economy of our own people and then of our own students who are here. So that's the part of our business ad hoc committee that we focus on. I won't be up here much longer, but I just want to say, of all of the presentations today, what I have seen and heard and witnessed is resiliency. Those are the teachings that were provided to us. Those are the foundations that we stand upon. And I'm so happy that we're able to adapt and then also come back to that point that tradition it evolves constantly. Tradition from 50 years ago today is relatively different today. So I want to make sure that I acknowledge that. And then also we heard from our students. And so I'm so happy that we have an individual here, part of the law program, is already looking at other ways to advocate for ADA requirements of individuals, not just within Down syndromes, but we don't have an advocate here on Navajo, and then that's out there making sure that those who have these disabilities, their needs are being met. So thank you very much to all the students who came up here. It's wonderful. Binina do ochilhosta, binina de chinch de tande, anhue bejeraho, naltsos hulik elieho. Najoniye. And I hope to see down the road those blessings for all of you. So that's what I wanted to say. And I'll go ahead and turn it over to Shiaj, Dr. Russell, to further explain how this committee continues to impact the college, and then also it evolves. So thank you again.
There's not a whole lot to add after, again, speaking after Chair Hatafli. But I think what the point that I would like to make about the ad hoc committee for business development is twofold. One, it's very visionary by the board. And I don't say that because they're my bosses. This is something that you see at some of these higher ed institutions that have huge endowments and things like that. They can afford it. We're starting down the other end. But what we've done that I think is really important, I think sometimes people lose sight of this, is that we've integrated fundraising with our academics and with the business development, so that it's not sitting over here separate, right? It's not sitting separate at all the resources. We integrate it. Like we talk about the mobile slaughterhouse. Well, we work with our land grant office. We get a grant for that. And then the idea then is once that gets started, we're as a business, a startup, we turn that over to our holding company, Citizen, and then it operates as a business, but it's integrated with our land grant office. Same way with DC Press in a different way. We got the foundation funding from Seattle Foundation to get started. Once that gets started, I think any day now, if I'm correct, Dr. Fowler, will have, an advertisement for the editorial director for the DC Press. We finalized that, and that's going to move forward. So that's going to start. But that was foundation money that came in. And then it's going to be able to get started, and it'll then be a business on its own. Same way with the wool mill. So the idea behind this is, how does Diné College generate the ideas through students, through faculty, through administration, whomever, through the community, and then where it's possible, we help build an economic base, but we don't run it as a college. That's one thing that's really important to understand. Citizen Holdings is separate from the college. So there won't be any of this commingling. They'll have, certain reporting that they have to do and things like that, but it will be, an actual LLC with these different companies. And I think that's what's exciting, is that, one, it allows us to give opportunities for our students in these fields. You're looking at wool mill, you're looking at meat packing, you're looking at, marketing and press and things like that. So that there's a direct benefit. And I think that's something that right now, that's what we're going to be focusing on as we move forward. So even though it may seem like there hasn't been a lot of movement, there's been a ton of movement. These grants are there. We have a baler, we have the meat packing, we're trying to find the site. All of that stuff can be done, and then when it's ready, it's taken over to Citizen Holdings. So I don't want to get into the details. I know the meeting is running a little long, so I'll stop there. But it's really an exciting time for us as we look forward to Citizen Holdings. Really is what that ad hoc committee is about, and the possibilities and the partnerships. That's something that we don't talk about too much, but this is an opportunity for us to build partnerships with industry, partnerships with individuals, communities, and so we're really excited about that opportunity too. So I promise I'll stop there.
Okay, there we go. Thank you so much, President Russell, for that. Well, we have reached the sort of tail end of this event. So before we open this up to all of you for any questions that you may have, I just wanted to throw out there that, with today's event, I'm pretty sure we've all taken away a couple things and learned a few things, hopefully. I mean, one of the key things I'm pretty sure we have all seen, not more or less so learned, but seen, is that Diné College has a lot of synergy. Now, you may be asking yourself, well, what is synergy? You hear that a lot in the world of business. So synergy is basically just, you have this person or entity, moving part, and you have this second or possibly third, fourth person or moving part, and they all come together in teamwork to make the dream work. But yeah, so that is basically synergy. I am the worst at explaining things, but Diné College obviously has a lot of that, and definitely you can see from the work that we are doing and presenting to you guys, we showed you that, of course, Diné College is on very stable ground, very based, if I do say so myself. That is Gen Z lingo there. But now I think is the time where we do open the floor up to some questions. Might anyone have any questions out there? Yes, we do have one question. Let's pass the mic over there. Who's going to be answering?
Shatu, Dr. Russell, and everyone that's here. I'm a professor of sociology in the School of Business and Social Science. I'm grateful for all of the updates. I brought my class down from Sociology 215, Native Americans and American Society, and I wanted to give them an eye view of Navajo leadership in action. And so, yeah, you were all being surveilled and what's going on in terms of Navajo leadership of Diné College. So he had, and one question I did have was about the Sihasin Holdings LLC, and I was wondering if there was, who's managing that? Is there a staff that's managing that? How's that being operated? Yeah.
So the question about Sihasin, who is managing it? So Sihasin is a separate legal entity from Diné College, and it's not under the arm of the Navajo Nation because it's a separate corporation. So the intent behind that was to look at ways that we can start to collaborate on the revenue side. So for example, if faculty were to come up with a very brilliant idea they were working on from their research, maybe this is something that it can go out to market. So in the future, I imagine what we're going to have is further agreements with faculty with how we can start, helping the faculty in terms of pushing out their ideas. But in addition, so to focus on your question, it's managed by a board of directors. And currently there's 3 board of directors on there. One is Teresa Hatothley, there's also myself, and there's also Clara Pratt. But as of now, the company has not started up yet, so.
And I just want to say also that we're in the process of recruitment for additional board of directors. One of the things that we're working towards is to remove, or at least not have us as board members be as directors there. So it's very important that we continue to have that recruitment process, and it's something that we've worked on with Dr. Russell. So we don't have a manager yet, and up until the time that the directors are in place, then they will actually do the recruitment, and they will be the one that's primarily overseeing that project. But Diné College is the sole owner. So whatever funds that they generate will only benefit Diné College. Thank you for your questions.
We have another question over here.
We're here just to support, my wife and I here support our daughter, Talia, and did a good job. Very proud of her. I'm very proud of what I'm hearing, Board of Regents, very proud. I've heard a lot about it. A lot of times it's, things that are not, good, but I'm very proud today of what you guys are doing. I do have some observations that I'd like to share. During the presentations, there were some things said about, how do we help students, really, be more successful. And I think one of the things, again, is it was expressed and it was brought out, and, considering the life experiences of the students, bring that in and speak and address those. That was good. Yesterday we tried to call here, but we didn't have a lot of success getting to a person. So call line should be very important, because I know there's probably students calling, but they're being rejected and said, your call might be taken at this time. 5 different areas we tried, were rejected 5 different times. Another thing that I heard, and I think this is very important, one of the persons said, that a student was, wanting to come here, but the teacher told him, go to university. I really believe, either as a staff from here or the regents, you should go to those schools and meet with the faculty, get to know the people. even bring them here for orientations. Let them see what this program is about. Because today I'm really impressed. They will be impressed. Instead of telling them to go to university, they'll say go to the next college. Very important, I believe, to get these feeder schools to know who you are. During the process, you can also recruit and tell them there's scholarships available. Very important for students to come here. I know I visited here many times, and and it's being addressed. It sounds like because it was addressed here. Facilities, first impressions. That is the number one thing if a student will decide to come here or not. First impressions. The grounds really need to be improved, I believe. Facilities, and you guys are addressing it. Those are just my observations, and I just want to say thank you. Like I said, I'm proud of the school right now. Thank you.
Any other questions out there? We have a question over there. All righty.
Mr. Sosi, I just want to acknowledge what you stated regarding helping students with the success and attaining success, and then also integrating their life experiences, and then how we can assist them. I think that's very important to ensure that our students continue to be successful. We say that, but I think actions speaks louder than words. So that's something that we constantly communicate to our staff, is make sure you have personal one-on-one interaction. And that way it's meaningful. And that's first and foremost. And so that's valuable in that sense too. And we have to acknowledge that. And then you are correct that many times, students out there, they want to go to school, they want to get into higher education, but the schools that prestigious schools in name and in function, that seems to be the draw. And so many times as parents, I think that's part of our responsibilities as grandparents too, that we need to remember that this is here for us, and to be able to communicate that out, not just for our kids and our grandkids, but also for our community members. So that's how I'd like to request everyone's help. This is the oldest tribal college, and the values that it has are our ancestors. Those are the ones that foresaw this day. And so we need to continue that going forward. And as far as call lines are concerned, I totally understand what you are saying. And I just want to make sure that that's something that we'll make sure that we have in our discussion going forward. So I know you and your wife and coming from Page, so thank you so much. I appreciate it.
We do have that question over there.
Hi, my name is Crystal Carr. I am the Director of Legislative Affairs and Special Projects here at Denay College. And my question is along the lines of academics. We have started a graduate program within biology, and we are looking to expand that, the graduate programs to other areas. I wanted to know if there's steps or plans, or if we could touch on how we are going to start a graduate college to address the needs of graduate students, as most of our students now are considered undergraduate. Thank you.
I think as board members, those questions are coming to us. So thank you very much, Nale, for asking that question. My other hat that I wear, I am for the state of Arizona. I am the state senator for Legislative District 6. So we have talked with college leadership, tribal colleges, and we have Diné College, we have NTU, we have the Tohono O'odham, we have the San Carlos. As tribal colleges here in the state of Arizona, we can't just continue focusing on infrastructure. I know we have old facilities and all of that, but we also have to balance the two, and we need to start looking at sponsoring legislation for programming, and then letting our leaders know that we want to be part of that state formula. State formulas at this level is something that we are not included in. There's other funding within the federal government that we are not included in to elevate our voices. One of the requests that we made is to the governor's office through the Tribal Relations Office, in which they are doing a study of how much money goes to the tribal colleges, and then to where are we going to look for that money. Traditionally, one aspect that we've looked at was the TPT funds, the compact funds. And so because of these, that the economic impact of certain closures, for example, we have the mine and then also Navajo Generating Station. Our TPT funds, they're not existent anymore. There's money going in there, but that communication is to advocate so that whatever is there would be open to us. So in a nutshell, we do need to start having that conversation that we need to have monies for programming, and that's where the graduate college is one of the priorities. And I do believe that we do have a program here, but I know we need to expand it. So thank you very much, Shanella, for your question.
Alrighty, at this point, any other questions left? This looks like we have a question on the, yep, we have a question back there.
Yate she Damien Daniel Jones Jr. in your Tutnesan, she Trabon, Bashichin, non she Trabon, Deshe do Tutnesan, Dashanella. And not in the form of a question, but more of announcements, because I am the president of Azeh Ben Nagab in the college. And I'd like to inform you that we are looking for your support because we will be hosting a finals prayer service on November 21st. And since everyone is here together, all the head honchos are here, and I just want to announce myself as a club president to kind of, like what Avi said, if you kind of really mean it, come support us. Because over the past 2 weeks ago, we had a meeting, and one of the only few faculties that came by was Wilson Arnoth. He sat up with us and talked about the history of the college and how it developed into where we are today through prayer. And so in regards to that, we only had a few other faculty members come by, such as Lorenzo Max, Travis Teller over here, Avery Denny came by, showed his support, our advisor Adriana Chi came by, and so kind of I'm humbly asking to kind of help support us in the clubs so that way you're able to use us students to elevate yourselves and elevate ourselves as a college so that we'll be able to kind of continue to grow and expand and through academics and I guess to put ourselves out there in the world so that we're able to support our students, because that's what our job here at the ABNDC is to support the students' mental health, well-being, spiritual well-being, and physical well-being of everyone so that we're able to kind of give a breath of fresh life. So that's as much as I wanted to say. Kind of thank you for everyone, and kind of like what Avery said again, if you really mean it, come support us. And then if you really mean it too, go support him, because I don't see any of you at our meetings. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Now, we do actually have a question. Like I said, we're going live on Facebook and YouTube, as well as a KXWR radio broadcast. So we do have a question in from YouTube for our board. This is coming from Michelle Whitestone. Might hosting an auction be great fundraising venue? I'd like to offer my services as a certified auctioneer. That was the question, by the way. Might hosting an auction be great fundraising revenue?
The fundraising did do an auction a few years ago, and I believe it was an online digital auction. We did have some moderate success with it. I think one of the issues was that at the time we didn't have as many viewers as we were hoping, but it did provide some good donations. And I believe at the time, most of the donations were fine arts that were created from either donations or the students. So, but as for solicitation of services, we do have formal RFP processes, that Bo would make sure that we follow. So that would have to be one of the administrators. They would have to work with our administrators in order to be on, and be mindful of any RFPs that may come out from the college.
We are always open to volunteers. We work for Piñons now.
Oh my gosh. All right, is that all the online questions that we had? Okay, so any other questions out here before we really wrap things up?
Thank you, Shiaj, for helping us today, and then and for your humor too. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for a job well done. Thank you very much. I do want to make one public service announcement. Before I forget, the public service announcement is for all Navajo Nation schools, Community Safety Task Force that's been launched by the Navajo Nation. So as many of you know, here in our community and where our children at, there's been threats at the school. So I wanted to let you know that from the Office of the President and Vice President, thank you very much. Also with the leadership of Shania, Dr. Ferlin Clark, he is chairing the the Operation Diné School Safety Committee is what it's called. So they're going to be launching a website as well as a phone number, and that's where the reporting process will be taken, and then also the community updates. Most importantly are the safety resources and the communication of a hotline number. So wherever you are at, if you see something, say something. If you hear something, please report it. It's very, very important that we make sure that our children and our loved ones come home and they work and they go to school every day. Thank you.
All right, well, I would safely say that is the, looks like we have another question over there.
Yate, I have a question, a real good one too. So listen up. Why we don't have a fall break after midterm? This is midterm week. We should be going out to Arizona State University or picking piñons on that 1 week break. It's an opportunity. How come we have a spring break, but we don't have a fall break, right? I'm talking on behalf of the provost and my dean right here and all the students and all the faculty. Not for the administration. This is only faculty and students. And yeah, we are at midterm. Students are taking their exams, and I had my class this morning take exam. And we're rolling on schedule. So, 아래야 بنادل كده أكوريا.
Yeah, Shania, na idin kid. I thought that the lied. You haven't even listened to my answer yet. I think this is very important. Thank you for the question. Yeah, na idin kid. Here at Diné College, we have our committees. We have the academic committee and then the governance committee. And so in these committees, we involve faculty, we involve the vice presidents. And so shared governance at that level is something that we make sure that everyone has a say-so in this, not just Dr. Denny. So I'm looking forward to our next committee meetings, which is October 11th. And that's when this topic can be discussed. So we really do value shared governance, but we just need to make sure that we abide by our policies from the federal and the state level. So I just wanted to make sure that that's clarified. So come to our committee meeting, and that's where these discussions they start. And next year we could have a result on this question. But that's my question right now, or my answer right now. So yeah, don't leave. We have food. Thank you.
Alrighty, so I think that's the last question, correct? No one else has any questions out there? Alrighty, well, thank you so much to looks like we have a question out here. Where is that at? No? Okay, well, now is the time where we do conclude this event. Thank you guys so much for coming out, but there is food right at the back of the table over there. There is a quick shout out if I do, or if I may, there is a quick shout out. So a quick little bit. So students and participants left this morning from Tuba City, and they are on their way to represent the Navajo Nation and Diné College at the 2024 American Indian Science and Engineering Society at the National Conference in San Antonio, Texas. So big shout out to everyone that is attending over there. Now, it ranges from high school students to first-time college freshmen. And the Diné College part of that for the first-time college freshmen is that they're enrolled in a dual credit program with Diné College. So shout out to everyone out there going over to San Antonio. And like I said, there is food and refreshments back there. That tea really did help me get through this event. So other than that, thank everyone for coming here today to the 2024 annual meeting. Anything else? I mean, really, there's nothing else to announce. But again, thank you guys so much. This has been a very awesome, insightful event. So shout out to all the board members over there that are just sitting around waiting for their food. And shout out to everyone over there that is that drove in wherever you drove in from. It's a nice time to, like everyone has been saying, pick some piñons. It's very warm out there. Like I gave the weather report this morning, the highest it's going to be today is 81 degrees, so not much craziness out there today. But yeah, thank everyone for coming out. Have a great afternoon.
I believe that Diné College is very traditional and cultural oriented, as geared more towards Diné philosophy and Diné culture and language. I started off as a Bash's employee since 25 years ago. It seemed like the more and more I got into the business of retail store operation, it seems like it was more of a self-awakening that it's not really part of what I wanted to do I really liked working with people. It's like opening up a whole new door to where I needed to see things for myself, needed to be finished, I guess, with my education. With the Net College having to be the educational philosophy of Sa'an Hagay Big-Ahjon, it really goes back to Sa'an Hagay Big-Ahjon as being the Net College. Sa'an Hagay Big-Ahjon. It means more to just saying Sa'an Hagay Big-Ahjon. You're embracing your heritage as a whole, your language as a whole, as being one with what our holy people expect us to know. It also, the Net College embraces and implements Natahakes, Nahata, Ina, and Sihasen. It's like a fulfillment of your life to understand, to live that corn pollen road and to live that Sa'an Hagay Big-Ahjon. The reason why I wanted to go into the health profession was because of I like to work with people, especially with elderly people. With that in mind, I'm really outgoing with people, and the thing was, I was looking around with being in my 40s, I was looking around and seeing younger kids, younger than, like, they're 20 years younger than I was, and I didn't feel out of place, but I thought to myself, these kids can be my kids. I saw it that way. In a way, it was comforting because of how people talk to each other here. It was like more like family oriented, and Shia, Shada'a, Shatsui, or Shache, or Shimasana, or something like that, the way the Net College is based on, with traditional and culture.